Good morning.
Well, Bo, you've had an opportunity now to play a full season here in Buffalo, and you've experienced the ups and downs, and you know it all about what's going on here. What are your thoughts now that you've finished a year, and what are your thoughts moving forward?
Yeah. First off, first thought's always disappointment. I look at our team, and I do think that, we should be playing the next few days in a playoff series, but that's on us as players, and it sucks, but all in all, I enjoyed my year. We have a great group of guys in the dressing room. We all get along, and we're all trying to figure this thing out together. So it's tough. It's never fun losing and whatever, but I know that everyone's committed to trying to figure this out, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Bo, what has made this a good fit for you from an on-ice perspective? And since you're an RFA this summer, is this somewhere that you could see yourself being when it comes to long-term?
Yeah, for sure. I've been lucky enough to come in and get a really good opportunity and, play important minutes and meaningful minutes, and I've really enjoyed that, and I feel like I've taken some strides in my game, and I'll continue to try to improve and turn into be the best version of myself as possible. And in terms of the contract thing, for sure, like I said, we have a great crew of guys in the locker room and a lot of great players, and it's tough, when things don't work out in terms of success for the team, but we'll regroup and come back next season ready to go. And in terms of my contract, I think I'll talk to my camp and talk to Kevin, and we'll figure out what the next step is. So I'm excited for that process. Kevin's great to work with, and very communicative of what he wants and what he thinks is best for myself and also the team. So, it'll be fun.
What was it like finding your way in this locker room? I know you came here and you moved in with Dylan, and now Dylan's gone, but it seems like, you built a lot of good relationships and kind of, some new bonds maybe in the room.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I've said it quite a few times. Like I knew a lot of guys coming here, which is not always the situation when you're going into a new work environment, right? I was lucky enough to know a lot of guys and know a lot of guys really well. And like you said, Dylan's a really close friend of mine, and it sucks, that he's not here anymore. But that's the business we're in, and I feel like you said, I made a lot of great friends outside of the guys that I already knew. So, it's been a lot of fun. And like I've said multiple times, we have a great group of guys, and everyone wants to figure it out. So, we're all pulling in the right direction.
When you look at this defense, we've talked to you a lot in the past about Rasmus. I'm interested in your thoughts on the season you saw for Owen, a guy. It's unfortunate he ends up with an injury, and we have to see how things play out for him in the summer. But how did you see him develop during the year as a guy who, produces offense and is still at that young age where he's working on the defensive side of the game?
I think it's no secret that Owen's a really good player, and he's going to be a really good player for many, many years to come. His poise with the puck and how he sees the ice, there's not many guys that have that ability. And, I love getting to play with him and watch him. And, I'd say we're both kind of in similar situations, still navigating the NHL and figuring out what needs to be done to be the best player you can be. And, he's a fantastic player and a great friend. He wants what's best for every guy individually in the room, and also what's best for the Buffalo Sabres. And he's been great to get to know, and like I said, in terms of on ice, the sky's the limit for him, and I'm excited to, watch him and be a part of that.
Well, there were times this year where your offense really was on the upswing, and then, excuse me, there were other times where, maybe you were concentrating more defensively. As you move forward now, do you see more of an upside in your offensive game and maybe even your defensive game as you strive to get better and move forward?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think I took strides in different areas of the game this year. I think defensively for a big chunk of the season, I thought, I was playing some of the best defensive hockey I've played in the NHL. And, it was kind of a rocky end to the season for me. But in terms of the defensive side of the puck, I'm happy with, some of the strides I did take. And I think I need to continue to improve both sides of the puck to be the player I want to be. And, I think I'm capable of that. And, and in terms of the offensive side, when you're playing with different guys, it kind of changes, right? I'm playing with Rasmus, and he's in my opinion, one of the best defensemen in the NHL, and his numbers and everything, will support that. And when I'm out there with him, I'm trying to, be a complimentary player for him, get him the puck when I can, and, make sure he's comfortable being up in the rush and doing everything, but also trying not let that take away from my game. So, I think, like I said, I'm never satisfied. I always want to improve. And, I thought I had a really good chunk of games throughout the season where I was playing very well, and other times, other stretches where I wasn't playing as well. And at the end of the day, I want to be a consistent player that, is shows up and you know exactly what you're getting for him every night. So that's what I'll continue to work on.
How do you feel physically? 82 games for the first time in your career, I think. Just how do you feel like you came through that?
Yeah, it's no secret I've had my injury struggles, knock on wood. But in terms of my physical health, I'm really happy with how my body held up this year. And, there's always little things along the way that are going to be nagging you or whatever it might be. But lucky enough this year I was able to stay away from anything serious. And, I try to take care of my body as best as possible and prepare myself every night to be the best version of myself. And I'm still learning that and trying to figure that out. But I feel like this season, in terms of, playing 82 games, it's a pretty cool thing to accomplish, and I'm proud of that. And, I'll try to continue that down the road as best as I can in terms of, preparing myself in the summertime and taking care of my body in the season.
Well, I'm curious for your reaction, your thoughts on what's going on in Colorado with the unbelievable story of Gabe being able to get back on the ice and playing games after all this time. What kind of emotion did that stir in all you guys who were there and won that cup with him 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's so good to see. Gabe's such a great player, but he's a great human and an unbelievable leader. And I have so much respect for him. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I was watching his documentary the other day, and it's pretty impressive what he's done. I don't know how many guys in the NHL would go through all that and still stick it out to see the end result. 3 years of not playing and whatever, having little setbacks, and he really went through the ringer, and it's so impressive to see him coming out on the other side. And yeah, I'm wishing him nothing but the best. And it must be an exciting time for those guys in that locker room having him back, because he means so much to that team, and he's such a big part of it.
Well, you guys went 5 or 6 weeks playing much better hockey. Can that correlate back to when that thing happened with Tage? And the guys said there were a lot of hard things said in the locker room after that, but they also said you guys came together more as a team after that happened too. Did you feel that way, and did we see that on the ice, that you guys were more of a team for those 5 or 6 weeks when you were playing better hockey?
Yeah, for sure. There's multiple things that go into the team playing good hockey, right? Individual success, guys playing to the game plan that Lindy sets out for us. It's an endless list. But I think, yeah, that it was a bit of a wake-up call for everyone, right? So it's an unfortunate thing to see, one of your best players going down like that. And like I said, it was a wake-up call for everyone, and I feel like maybe that did spark us a little bit, right? And we played some really good hockey down the stretch after that. So it's it's always something you're trying to improve. Is, I don't know, the word culture, whatever it might be. You're always striving to find the right recipe, and our team will continue to do that. Thanks, guys. Take care.